General Sora walked through the underground facility. The walls were thick metal. The lights were dim. Guards saluted as she passed. No one spoke. This place did not exist on any map. This place had no name. This place was a secret that had been kept for 60 years. The elevator went down, 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 3 miles below the Pacific Ocean. The doors opened. Sora stepped into a massive chamber. It stretched for miles in every direction, and it was full of weapons. Dr. Yuna waited for her. The scientist was young. Too young, some said, but her mind was brilliant. She had been working here since she was 18. That was 15 years ago. Show me everything, Sora said. Yuna smiled. She led the general deeper into the facility. They walked past rows of strange devices. Machines that hummed with power. Weapons that glowed with blue light. This is the quantum disruption array, Yuna said. She pointed at a massive cannon. It was as big as a building. It tears apart the fabric of space-time. Any ship caught in the field simply stops existing. Not destroyed, not exploded, just gone. Erased from reality, Sora nodded. How many do we have? 200. 50 installed on Earth, 50 on Mars, the rest on our moon bases. They moved to the next section. Yuna showed her the dimensional bombs. Small devices. Each one fit in a hand, but each one could collapse a star. We never tested these, Yuna said. The simulations say they work, but we never dared to try. Too dangerous. We will test them on the Draxians, Sora replied. On the far side of the moon, Commander Jinwoo stood in the hangar. Around him were ships. Hundreds of them. But these were not normal ships. These were Ghost Fleet vessels, invisible to all sensors, silent, deadly. Jinwoo was tall, quiet. His eyes were cold. He had trained for this mission his entire life. His father had trained for it. His grandfather, too. 3 generations of warriors all preparing for one moment. This moment. Status report, he said to his second officer. All ships are ready, Commander. Phase field generators are operational. Weapons are charged. We can launch at any time. Jinwoo walked to his command ship. It was beautiful. Black metal that seemed to drink in light. No windows. No visible weapons. But inside it carried enough firepower to destroy a planet. How many ships in the fleet? He asked. 372, sir. Each one crewed by our best pilots. Each one carrying our newest weapons. The commander nodded. He climbed into his ship. The cockpit sealed. The engines powered up. No sound, no light. The Ghost Fleet was designed to be invisible in every way. Back on Earth, Admiral Hyun received a message. It was from General Sora, just 2 words. Begin countdown. He turned to his crew. Activate the moon cannons. On the lunar surface, the ground began to shake. Massive doors opened. They had been hidden for decades, covered by fake rocks and artificial craters. But now they revealed what lay beneath. Railgun batteries. Each one a mile long. Each one capable of firing projectiles at a fraction of light speed. There were hundreds of them, all pointed at the Draxian fleet. The Draxian ships detected the movement. Their sensors screamed warnings. Chancellor Vex appeared on his command screen. What is that? He demanded. Where did those weapons come from? His tactical officer checked the readings. Sir, those are mass drivers. Very large ones. They appear to have been hidden under the lunar surface, Vex laughed. Mass drivers? These primitives think old kinetic weapons can harm us? Our shields can stop anything they fire. The Draxian fleet did not move. They were confident. Their shields had never failed. No weapon in the known galaxy could penetrate them, but they did not know about the quantum enhancers. Dr. Yuna had spent 20 years perfecting them. The railgun projectiles were not just metal. They were wrapped in quantum fields, fields that allowed them to pass through shields like they were not there at all. Admiral Hyun gave the order. Fire! The moon lit up. Hundreds of railguns fired at once. The projectiles screamed through space. They moved so fast they left trails of fire in the vacuum. The first salvo hit the Draxian fleet. The shields held, just like Vex had said. The Draxians cheered, then the second salvo hit, and these projectiles did not stop at the shields. They passed through. They struck the hulls directly. They punched through armor like it was paper. 30 Draxian ships exploded, just like that, in seconds. Their reactors went critical. The explosions lit up space like new stars. On the command ship, Vex screamed, Impossible! How did they penetrate our shields? No one had an answer, because no one in the Draxian Imperium knew about quantum physics. They had never needed it. Their shields had always been enough. The third salvo fired. The fourth. The fifth. More Draxian ships died. The fleet began to panic. They tried to return fire. Their weapons lit up the darkness. Energy beams and missiles flew toward Earth. But then the quantum disruption arrays activated. Dr. Yuna pressed the button herself. The massive cannons hummed. Space itself began to twist and bend. Every missile the Draxians fired simply vanished. The energy beams scattered and faded. It was like firing into a black hole. Nothing reached Earth. Nothing even got close. And then Commander Jinwoo's ghost fleet arrived. 372 ships appeared from nowhere. One moment empty space, the next moment a full battle fleet. They appeared inside the Draxian formation, among the enemy ships, so close they could see the alien crew through the windows. Jinwoo smiled. All ships, fire at will. The ghost fleet opened fire. Their weapons were different from the railguns. These were plasma cannons, fusion beams, antimatter torpedoes. Every weapon humanity had dreamed up and built in secret. The Draxian fleet broke apart. Ships collided with each other trying to escape. Others just exploded where they floated. The ghost fleet moved through them like wolves through sheep. In 1 hour, half the Draxian fleet was destroyed. In 2 hours, only a third remained. Chancellor Vex ordered a retreat. His massive command ship turned and jumped away. 200 other ships followed. The rest were left behind, burning, breaking apart, dying in the cold of space. Admiral Hyun watched the Draxian retreat on his screen. He did not smile. He did not celebrate. He just turned to his communications officer. Send a message to General Sora. Tell her Phase 1 is complete. And Phase 2, sir? Phase 2 is simple, Hyun said. His voice was cold, hard. We hunt them down. Every last ship. Every last soldier. Every last world that supported them. The Draxian Imperium declared us slaves. We will show them what happens when you make that mistake. In her underground facility, Dr. Yuna looked at her team. Engineers, scientists, weapons designers. They had spent their lives building this arsenal. Building these terrible weapons. Hoping they would never be used. But now they had been used. And they worked better than anyone had hoped. Better than anyone had feared. We have more weapons, she said to General Sora. Worse weapons. Things we never told the government about. Things we built just in case the situation became truly desperate. Show me, Sora said. Yuna led her to a sealed vault. She entered a code. The door opened. Inside was a single device, small, simple, it looked almost harmless. This is the reality engine, Yuna said quietly. It can rewrite the laws of physics in a localized area. Make gravity stronger, make light slower. Make matter unstable. We could use it to destroy entire planets, or entire star systems. Sora stared at the device. How many did you build? 5, Yuna said. But one would be enough to end this war. One would be enough to end everything. General Sora nodded slowly. She understood what that meant. Humanity had built weapons that could destroy civilizations. Weapons that could erase entire species from existence. And now those weapons were awake. Now those weapons were ready to be used. The Draxian Imperium had made a terrible mistake. They had poked the sleeping dragon. And now the dragon was breathing fire. Admiral Hyun stood on the bridge of the defense station watching the stars. He had done this for 20 years. Every night the same view. The same peaceful darkness. The same quiet space. But tonight was different. The alarms screamed. Red lights flashed across every screen. The young officer at the sensor station turned pale. His hands shook as he pointed at the display. Sir, the officer said. His voice cracked. There are ships coming out of jump space. Hundreds of them. Hyun walked to the sensor station. He looked at the numbers. His heart grew cold. These were not human ships. The design was wrong. The size was wrong. Everything was wrong. How many? He asked. 843 ships, sir, and they are still coming. The alien fleet filled the space above Earth. Their ships were massive. Each one looked like a floating city. Dark metal covered their hulls. Strange symbols glowed on their sides. The largest ship moved to the front. It was 10 times bigger than Earth's biggest carrier. A signal came through. The screen filled with a face that was not human. Gray skin, 4 eyes, a mouth that seemed too wide. The creature wore armor covered in metals and strange marks. "Humans of Earth," the alien said. Its voice sounded like rocks grinding together. "I am Supreme Chancellor Vex of the Draxian Imperium. We have ruled 12 galaxies for 3,000 years. Now we come to you." Hyun said nothing. He watched. He waited. "Your species has been studied. Your strength has been measured. Your worth has been calculated. The Galactic Council has made its decision." The alien paused. "Humanity is now classified as slave species Tier 7. You will serve the Imperium." The bridge went silent. No one moved. No one breathed. "You have 3 of your days to prepare," Vex continued. "Gather your strongest workers. Send them to the processing stations we will build. Those who refuse will be taken by force. Those who fight will be killed. This is the law of the Imperium." The transmission ended. Far from Earth, Captain Minho guided his colony ship through deep space. The horizon carried 5,000 people. They were heading to a new world. A fresh start. A better life. Minho was reading reports when the emergency signal came. His hand hit the console. The message played. It was from New Beijing Colony, the newest human settlement. 20,000 people lived there. "They are here," someone screamed through the static. "Giant ships. They are landing! They are taking people. Please, someone help us. They are taking everyone." Gunfire cracked through the speaker. Then screaming. Then silence. Minho changed course. The horizon jumped toward New Beijing. When they arrived, the colony was burning. Buildings lay in ruins. Bodies covered the streets. And the people were gone. 10,000 of them, simply gone. Giant transport ships floated above the colony. Through his telescope, Minho could see inside. Humans packed into cages. Hundreds per cage. Like animals. The ships were loading them like cargo. "Captain," his second officer said. "What do we do?" Minho stared at the scene. His hands became fists. "We run, we survive. And we tell Earth what happened here." The horizon jumped away just as the alien ships started scanning for them. Back on Earth, the world leaders gathered. The video conference connected every nation. Every face showed the same expression. Fear mixed with anger. "They have already hit 15 colonies," the Secretary General said. "Our early reports say 10 million people have been captured. The Draxian ships are too fast, too strong. Our weapons barely scratch their shields." One leader stood up. General Sora, she was old. Gray hair, tired eyes. But her voice was steel. "I need authority," she said. "Full authority. No questions. No delays. Authority for what?" someone asked. "To activate Project Ragnarok." The room went quiet. Some leaders looked confused. Others looked shocked. A few smiled. "You said that project was just a theory," the Secretary General said. "I lied," Sora replied. "We have been building it for 60 years, waiting for the day someone would underestimate us. That day is today." The vote was unanimous. General Sora had her authority. In orbit above Earth, Admiral Hyun received new orders. Strange orders. He was told to power down the defense stations. Make them look weak. Make them look abandoned. "Sir, this makes no sense," his tactical officer said. "If we power down, we are defenseless." Hyun read the orders again. At the bottom was a single line. A code he had not seen in 20 years. A code from his academy days. Project Ragnarok. His face went pale. Then he smiled. It was not a kind smile. "Follow the orders," he said. "Power everything down. And then wait, trust me. Just wait." The Draxian fleet moved closer to Earth. They saw the defense stations going dark. They saw the carriers pulling back. They laughed. These humans were even weaker than expected. Chancellor Vex sent more ships to the colonies. More raiding parties. More slave transports. In 3 days, they had captured 50 million humans. The processing stations were filling up. The labor camps were being built. Everything was going according to plan. The Imperium had claimed another species, another resource, another victory. But deep below the surface of Earth's moon, something was waking up. Massive doors were opening. Weapons that had never been fired were powering on. Ships that had never been seen were launching into the void. And in a secret facility buried under the Pacific Ocean, Dr. Yuna entered the final code. The quantum reactors hummed to life. The dimensional anchors stabilized. The reality engines began their calculations. She looked at her screen. Looked at the power readings. Looked at the weapons that humanity had built in secret for decades. "Ragnarok is ready," she said into her communicator. We can begin whenever you give the order. The 3 days passed. The Draxian Imperium expected surrender. What they got was something else entirely. What they got was a lesson they would never forget. What they got was humanity. Captain Minho's ship floated in the darkness. The horizon had been hiding for 3 days, running silent. All systems powered down except life support. The crew waited, watched, prepared. They were not far from the Draxian flagship, the massive alien ship called the Eternal Throne. It was where Chancellor Vex commanded his invasion, where he planned the enslavement of humanity. Minho studied the ship through his scanners. He had been studying it for days, learning its patterns, understanding its movements, finding its weak points. Captain, his tactical officer whispered, "We should leave. If they detect us, we are dead." "They will not detect us," Minho said. "Not until it is too late." He turned to his engineer, Hana. She was young but brilliant. She had worked on the colony ships for 5 years. She knew every system, every wire, every circuit. "Is the reactor ready?" he asked. Hana nodded. "Ready to overload on your command. When it goes, it will take out everything within 50 miles. "Good," Minho said, "because we are about to get very close." He activated the quantum drive. It was new technology, secret technology. It let them jump through space in ways the Draxians could not track, could not predict. The horizon vanished from normal space. For 3 seconds, it existed in quantum space, a place between places, and then it emerged inside the Eternal Throne. The Draxian crew screamed. Alarms blared. A human ship had just appeared in their main hangar. Impossible, unthinkable. But there it was. The horizon's doors opened. Minho and his crew poured out. They wore combat armor, carried plasma rifles, moved with military precision. The Draxian soldiers tried to respond, but they were slow, confused. They had never fought inside their own flagship before. They had never expected anyone to be crazy enough to try. Minho's team cut through them, fast, efficient, brutal. They moved through the corridors like they had trained for this their entire lives, because they had. "Hana," Minho shouted. "Find the reactor room." The engineer pulled up a schematic on her wrist device. 3 levels down. East section. "We need to move fast. They will seal the bulkhead soon." They ran, fighting every step. More Draxian soldiers appeared. Hundreds of them. But the humans had surprise, had speed, had weapons that the aliens had never seen before. Plasma bolts filled the corridors. The walls melted under the heat. Bodies fell on both sides, but the humans kept moving, kept pushing forward. They reached the reactor room. Massive doors blocked their way. Hana placed charges. The explosion tore through the metal. They rushed inside. The reactor was enormous, a sphere of pure energy floating in the center of the room, contained by magnetic fields. It powered the entire flagship. All its weapons, all its shields, everything. "How long do you need?" Minho asked. Hana was already working. Her hands flew over the controls. 5 minutes. Maybe less if I can bypass their safety systems. "We will hold them here," Minho said. He turned to his team. 12 humans against an entire ship. The odds were impossible. But they had known that from the start. The Draxians came. Wave after wave. They poured into the reactor room. The humans met them with gunfire, with grenades, with everything they had. One by one, Minho's team fell, fighting to the last breath, buying time for Hana, buying seconds with their lives. "Done," Hana shouted. "The reactor is overloading. We have 90 seconds. Minho and the 3 surviving crew members ran, back through the corridors, back toward the hangar. The ship was shaking now. Alarms screamed everywhere. The Draxians were evacuating. Trying to reach the escape pods, they made it to the horizon, climbed aboard, sealed the doors. Minho hit the quantum drive. The ship jumped. Just as the reactor exploded, the Eternal Throne tore itself apart. The explosion consumed the flagship and everything around it. 50 other Draxian ships were caught in the blast. They simply ceased to exist. Erased in a flash of light brighter than a star, Chancellor Vex had been on a transport, heading to inspect another colony. He watched his flagship die on his screen. His face went gray. His hands shook. "Who did this?" he whispered. "Who dared?" His aide was checking reports. "Sir, it appears to be a human colony ship. A small vessel. We do not know how they boarded the flagship." "Find them," Vex snarled. "Find them and kill them. Make it slow." Make it painful. But Captain Minho was already gone, jumping through quantum space, heading toward his next target. Meanwhile, Admiral Hyun launched Earth's counteroffensive. 3 fleets, 3 targets, all at once. The first fleet hit the Draxian stronghold at Proxima. The aliens had built a massive station there, 30 miles across, armed with hundreds of weapons. Protected by the best shields in the Imperium, the human fleet appeared from quantum space. Right next to the station, the railguns fired first. Quantum-enhanced projectiles that passed through shields like they were not there. They tore through the station's armor, breached its hull in 1,000 places. Then came the plasma cannons, the fusion beams, the antimatter torpedoes. The station tried to fight back. Its weapons blazed. But the human ships were too fast, too many, too angry. In 30 minutes, the station was destroyed. In 1 hour, the entire Proxima system was under human control. The second fleet hit the colony world of Drax Minor. 2 billion Draxians lived there. The humans did not attack the planet. They attacked the orbital defense grid instead. Destroyed every satellite, every weapon platform, every ship in orbit. Then they broadcast a message. Simple, clear, terrifying. You have 24 hours to evacuate this world. After that, we will destroy it. We will not show mercy. We will not accept surrender. Leave now or die. The Draxians fled. Every ship they had, every transport, every shuttle. They carried as many people as they could. But there were too many. Not everyone could escape. The third fleet targeted the mining stations in the outer rim. The Draxians had built them on asteroids. Using slave labor from dozens of species, the humans arrived and freed the slaves. Gave them weapons. Gave them ships. Fight with us, the human commander said. Or run, your choice. But if you fight, we will arm you, train you, support you. Most chose to fight. They had been slaves for years, decades, some for their entire lives. Now they had a chance for revenge, a chance for freedom. The rebellion spread. World after world rose up. Species after species joined the fight. The Draxian Imperium had ruled through fear, through overwhelming force. But now that force had met something stronger. Now it had met humanity. Back on Earth, General Sora watched the reports. 3 victories, 3 major strongholds destroyed or captured. The Draxians were reeling, confused, afraid. But this was just the beginning. This was just the first blood. The real war was about to start. She turned to her staff, to the officers and admirals who had planned this campaign. Phase 3, she said. We take the fight to their core worlds. We show them what happens when you try to enslave humanity. We show them what fury looks like. General Sora stood before the War Council. Every human military leader was present. Every admiral, every general, every person who had authority to wage war. We have shown them we can fight, she said. Now we show them we can destroy. No mercy, no prisoners, no half measures. The Draxian Imperium wanted to enslave us. We will erase them from history. The room was silent. Some faces showed shock. Others showed grim determination. This was not the kind of war humanity usually fought. This was total war. This was annihilation. What about civilian populations? Someone asked. We give them 1 hour to evacuate, Sora replied. After that, their world dies. They chose to support an empire built on slavery. They chose to benefit from our suffering. Now they will pay the price. The vote was unanimous. Total war it would be. The first planet-killer weapon was deployed at Drax Prime, the homeworld of a Draxian ally species. 5 billion people lived there. They had helped build the slave ships, had helped process the captives, had grown rich on human suffering. Admiral Hyun's fleet appeared in orbit. They broadcast the warning. 1 hour to evacuate. No exceptions. No negotiations. The planet erupted in chaos. Ships launched by the thousands. People fought to get aboard. Some made it. Most did not. When the hour ended, maybe half the population had escaped. Hyun gave the order. The weapon fired. It was not like the old nuclear weapons, not like the kinetic strikes. This was something new, something terrible. The planet killer hit the core of the world, and it began to pull the planet apart from the inside. The ground split open. Continents tore apart. Oceans boiled away. In 10 minutes, the entire planet was breaking into pieces. In 20 minutes, those pieces were dust. In 30 minutes, there was nothing left but a cloud of debris where a world had once existed. The message was clear. Humanity would not be stopped. Humanity would not be reasoned with. Humanity was coming for everyone who had helped enslave them. Dr. Yuna deployed the quantum bombs next. These were different from the planet killers. These did not destroy worlds. These destroyed star systems. The first bomb was used on the Carina system. It was a major Draxian industrial hub. Shipyards orbited every planet. Factories covered every moon. This was where they built their war machines, where they forged their weapons. The bomb activated. Space itself began to collapse inward. The star at the center of the system flickered. Then it went dark. Not exploded, not gone, just dark, dead, as if someone had turned off a light switch. Every planet froze, every moon, every station. In hours, everything in that system was cold and dead. The quantum bomb had rewritten the laws of physics, made fusion impossible, made the star stop burning. 3 more bombs were deployed. 3 more systems went dark. The Draxian infrastructure collapsed. Their supply lines broke. Their economy shattered. Commander Jinwoo and his ghost fleet became legends. They appeared everywhere, striking targets across 50 systems simultaneously. The Draxians never knew where they would hit next, never knew if they were safe. Jinwoo would jump his fleet into orbit above a Draxian world, destroy the defenses, broadcast his message, and then vanish before reinforcements could arrive. The message was always the same. This world is now under human protection. All slaves are free. All Draxian military personnel have 1 hour to surrender or die. Choose wisely. Most chose to surrender. Those who did not died quickly. The Draxian Imperium began to fracture. The conquered species saw their chance. They rebelled. They armed themselves. They fought back. The Vrex, who had been slaves for 300 years, seized control of their home system. The humans helped them, gave them ships, taught them how to fight. The Krell, who had lost their entire civilization to the Imperium, rose up. They took back 4 of their ancient worlds. The humans stood beside them in every battle. The Tal, the Breen, the Zenith. Species after species joined the fight. The Imperium had ruled through fear, but now something more terrifying had arrived. Humanity. Chancellor Vex watched his empire crumble. He retreated to the core worlds, to the ancient Draxian territories that had been theirs for thousands of years. He called for help from the other galactic powers, the ancient empires that ruled alongside the Draxians, but no help came. The other empires had seen what humanity could do. They had seen planets destroyed, stars extinguished, entire systems erased from existence. They wanted no part of this war. Some even sent messages to Earth offering peace, offering alliance, offering anything to stay on humanity's good side. General Sora rejected them all. When we needed help, you did nothing. When we were being enslaved, you watched. Now you want peace? You will wait. First, we finish what we started. The human fleets pushed deeper into Draxian space. They liberated every slave world, destroyed every military installation, dismantled every piece of the Imperium's infrastructure. Captain Minho had become a ghost story. The Draxians whispered about him in fear. The human who could appear anywhere, who could strike any target, who had destroyed their greatest flagship alone. He and his crew continued their raids, hitting supply depots, freeing prisoner camps, sabotaging weapons facilities, always moving, always fighting, never stopping. Hana had modified the horizon with Draxian technology, made it faster, stronger, deadlier. It was no longer a colony ship. It was a weapon. After 2 years of war, the Draxian Imperium controlled less than 1/10 of its former territory. Their fleets were scattered. Their worlds were in ruins. Their people were refugees fleeing across the galaxy, and still humanity pushed forward. Still they attacked. Still they hunted. When will it end? Vex asked his advisors. They had no answer. How do you stop an enemy that will not negotiate, will not accept surrender, will not show mercy? The answer came from General Sora herself. She broadcast a message across the entire galaxy. Every species heard it. Every world. Every ship. The Draxian Imperium declared war on humanity. They chose to enslave us, to take our people, to destroy our worlds. We did not start this war, but we will finish it, she paused. Let the words sink in. We are coming for the Draxian homeworld. We are coming for their ancient capital. We are coming to end this. They have one choice. Surrender completely. Disband their empire. Free every slave. Face justice for their crimes, or we will erase their civilization from history. They have 10 days to decide. The transmission ended. On the Draxian homeworld, panic spread. Should they surrender? Should they fight? Could they even win? Chancellor Vex refused to surrender. "We are the Draxian Imperium. We have ruled for 3,000 years. We will not bow to these primitives." He gathered every ship he had left, every soldier, every weapon. He would make his last stand at the homeworld. He would fight to the end. The human fleets assembled. Admiral Hyun commanded the main battle group. Commander Jinwoo led the Ghost Fleet. Captain Minho and hundreds of other independent ships joined them. This would be the final battle. The end of the war. Dr. Yuna activated the reality engine. Just one. She aimed it at the heart of the Draxian homeworld, not to destroy it, not yet, but to show them what humanity could do, to show them that resistance was futile, to show them that their choices were simple: surrender or die. The 10 days began. The galaxy held its breath, and humanity waited to see what the Draxians would choose. The 10 days passed slowly. The galaxy watched, waited, wondered what would happen. On the Draxian homeworld, riots broke out. The people had learned the truth. Their government had started this war. Their leaders had declared humanity as slaves, and now they would all pay the price for that arrogance. Chancellor Vex tried to maintain control. He sent soldiers into the streets, tried to silence the protests. But his people had seen too much, lost too much. They wanted no more war. On the 9th day, his own military turned against him. The generals arrested Vex. They contacted the human fleet. They offered complete surrender. "We will disband the Empire, free every slave, face justice for our crimes. Please spare our world, spare our people." General Sora received the message. She sat in silence for a long time. 3 years of war, billions dead, entire civilizations destroyed, and now they wanted mercy. She thought about the 50 million humans taken as slaves, the colonies that were burned, the lives that were lost. Every reason to refuse, every reason to finish what they started. But she also thought about what humanity would become if they continued. If they destroyed the Draxian homeworld, if they committed genocide, would they be any better than the empire they fought? She made her decision. "We accept their surrender, but there will be terms, strict terms, and if they break them, we will finish this." The human fleet entered orbit above the Draxian homeworld, not to destroy, to occupy. To ensure the terms were met, Admiral Hyun led the landing forces. They took control of the government centers, the military bases, the communication networks. The Draxians offered no resistance. They knew they had lost. Chancellor Vex was brought before an international tribunal. Representatives from every species the Draxians had enslaved attended. They testified. They showed evidence. They demanded justice. Vex was found guilty of crimes against sentient life. War crimes, slavery, genocide. The sentence was life imprisonment, not death. Humanity wanted him to live, to see what his empire had become. To understand the cost of his arrogance, the Draxian Imperium officially disbanded. Their territory was divided among the species they had conquered. Their military was reduced to defense forces only. Their weapons of mass destruction were destroyed. Every slave in the former empire was freed. Billions of people, from hundreds of species. They were given ships, resources, help to return home or build new lives. The human prisoners were found in labor camps across 50 worlds. Most were alive, broken, traumatized, but alive. Captain Minho personally led the rescue missions. He would not rest until every human was accounted for. The galaxy changed. The old order was shattered. The ancient empires that had ruled for millennia suddenly seemed weak, vulnerable. If humans could destroy the Draxians, they could destroy anyone. The Galactic Council reformed. It had been controlled by the major empires, but now it needed to change. New species demanded seats. New voices demanded to be heard. Admiral Hyun was chosen to represent humanity. He traveled to the new council station. It was built in neutral space, far from any one power, a place where all species could meet as equals. He stood before the assembled delegates. Hundreds of species, thousands of worlds, all watching him, all waiting to hear what humanity wanted. "We did not want this war," Hyun said. His voice was calm, steady. "We wanted peace. We wanted to explore, to grow, to learn. The Draxians took that choice from us. They declared us slaves. They forced us to fight." He paused. Let his words sink in. We won because we had no choice, because we would rather die than be enslaved, because we were willing to do whatever it took to survive. But we do not want to be conquerors. We do not want to rule over others. Another pause. What we want is simple. All slavery must end. Every species must be free to govern themselves. Every world must have the right to choose its own path. And if anyone tries to take those rights away, humanity will stop them. We will enforce these laws. Not because we want power, but because someone must. The council chamber erupted in debate. Some species cheered. Others protested. The old empires were angry. They did not want to give up their privileges, their control, but most of the galaxy supported humanity. They had seen what humans could do. They had seen the weapons, the power, the determination, and they knew that arguing was pointless. The laws were passed. Slavery was abolished across the entire galaxy. Species were granted sovereignty. The old empire system began to break down. Captain Minho took on a new role. He became the coordinator for the Free Worlds Alliance. It was a coalition of former slave species. They helped each other rebuild, defended each other, grew stronger together. The Vrex joined, the Krell, the Tal, dozens of species who had suffered under the old empires. They built new governments, new societies, new futures, and humanity stood behind them, not ruling, not controlling, just supporting, helping, protecting. Commander Jinwoo and his ghost fleet became peacekeepers. They patrolled the disputed territories, stopped pirate raids, prevented new wars before they could start. They were rarely seen but always feared. Dr. Yuna dismantled most of the terrible weapons humanity had built. The planet killers, the quantum bombs, the reality engines. They were too dangerous to keep, too tempting to use, but she kept the blueprints, locked away, hidden just in case, because she knew that the galaxy would not stay peaceful forever, knew that someday humanity might need those weapons again. Engineer Hana returned to colony work, but now she built settlements for freed slaves, helped them create new homes, new lives. She modified the Horizon back into a colony ship, and she took groups of refugees to fresh worlds where they could start over. General Sora retired. She had led humanity through its darkest hour, won an impossible war, changed the galaxy forever. Now she was tired. She wanted rest, but before she left, she gave one final speech. It was broadcast across all human worlds, across all allied worlds, across the entire galaxy. We showed the galaxy what we can do when pushed. We showed them our strength, our fury, our determination, but let us also show them our mercy, our compassion, our desire for peace. She paused. One last time, we are humanity. We can be your greatest ally or your worst enemy. The choice is yours. Choose wisely. The war ended, but its lessons remained. The galaxy learned that humans were patient, kind, willing to help others. But the galaxy also learned that humans had limits, that there were lines that should never be crossed. The Draxian Imperium had crossed those lines, and they paid the price. Their empire destroyed, their power broken, their name forever associated with the mistake of underestimating humanity. Years passed, decades. The galaxy stabilized. New civilizations rose, old ones adapted. Peace became the norm rather than the exception. But in every military academy across every species, they taught about the human war, about what happened when a powerful empire tried to enslave a seemingly weak species, about the fury that followed. They studied the battles, analyzed the tactics, examined the weapons, and they learned the most important lesson of all. Never underestimate humanity, never mistake their kindness for weakness, never push them past their limits, because humans have patience, but they also have fury. And when that fury is unleashed, it does not stop until justice is done. The galaxy was reborn, built on new principles, new laws, new hope, and humanity stood watch, ready to help, ready to protect, ready to ensure that what happened to them would never happen to anyone else. This was their promise. This was their duty. This was the legacy of the war that changed everything.